my lemon Swiss Buttercream Hatbox cake. Now, this would be perfect for someone's birthday. So let me start with the cake first before I get into the frosting. I'll start by sifting 2 cups of cake and pastry flour along with my other dry ingredients. That includes 1.5 cups of sugar, a tablespoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. I'll sift this into my mixing bowl. Here we go. Before I add my butter, I actually like to add my lemon zest. I find adding lemon zest when I'm mixing my butter, sugar, and flour together actually brings out the flavor nicely, and it really evenly distributes the lemon flavor. For this cake, I used the paddle attachment, and I have half a cup of softened unsalted butter, and just work it in on medium speed until it's a rough, crumbly texture. There we go. I can see there are no more large pieces of butter, so I'm ready to add my liquid ingredients. I start with 1¼ cups of buttermilk. I'm using egg whites, 4 of them, and I'll add that to the buttermilk. I'll add my vanilla, and just give this a quick stir, and then I add it all at once to the bowl. I'll start this blending on low speed, then I'll increase the speed to medium and let it beat for a couple minutes until it's light and fluffy. There we go. That's nice and light. I want to decorate it so it looks like a giant gift. To do that, I want to divide the batter into 3 pans so it's a tall 3-layer cake. It's smooth, very light in texture, but still pourable. These are ready for the oven, which I've preheated to 350, and they take about 30 to 35 minutes until they're done. What I like to do is let the cakes cool in their pan for about 20 minutes. Then I tip them out onto a cooling rack to cool completely. I'll set these aside because now it's time for the Swiss meringue buttercream. So I'm gonna warm up some egg whites and sugar. In this case, 4 egg whites and 1¼ cups of sugar. There we go. I'll take this to my water bath, and I'll heat this up until it reaches 160. All right. And there it is. Pull this off the heat. And now, of course, it's time to whip the egg whites and make a light, fluffy meringue. What's important now is you whip them on high speed, but you need to cool down the Swiss meringue. Cool enough that it's room temperature, so when you add the butter, you don't melt it. All right, let's see if this is cooled down. Yes, excellent. So my Swiss meringue is at room temperature. So now I'm gonna put the mixer on medium and add 1.5 cups of room temperature unsalted butter, a little bit at a time, and let it work in. And then I increase the speed just to fluff it up one more time. So now it's time to add the flavoring. A little bit of lemon zest, about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. To really dress up this cake, I want to tint my frosting in 2 colors, yellow and green. So what I need to do is set aside some frosting for the lid. So I'll take about 1/4 of the frosting and I'll tint that separately. Can always add a little at a time and then go back and add a little more. I think this looks pretty nice, so I'm going to set it aside. And now for my favorite part, decorating the cake. A cake wheel makes it handy, and I've got a cake board. That way I can move the cake around as I need to. Peel away the parchment, drop a cake layer on, and I try and keep my frosting layers quite sheer in between because I am going to put a fair bit of frosting on top. On goes my second layer. Put a little extra on this top layer, and I am going to push it pretty much to the outside of the cake. You can really see how that frosting, as I put it on the side, connects to the frosting on top. I am happy with this now, so I'll transfer it to my serving plate. I'm going to pop this in the fridge to chill down a little bit before the Hatbox lid goes on top. I've got that green buttercream frosting that I saved, so it's at room temperature where this buttercream is now chilled. I'm gonna put this back onto my cake wheel. To create that little lip of the Hatbox lid, take a piece of parchment that's actually shorter than the sides of the cake and stick it around, letting the buttercream hold it in place. This little piece of parchment is only here temporarily. So now for the green. The reason you chill the yellow buttercream layer is so when you put on the green, the two don't blend together. And then you may find it easier to switch to a smaller spatula to do the side detail. And then to create a nice clean edge around the outside, take your palette knife and pull inwards. Perfect. Now, it's tempting to put it in the fridge like this to set, but no, you actually want to peel away the parchment while this green buttercream is still soft. So you take the end piece and carefully but quickly pull it away, and there you have a nice clean edge to your Hatbox cake. So to get it ready for presentation, I'll transfer it back to my platter. And now it's time to get ready to wrap up my gift. I've got rolling fondant here. And I've already tinted it yellow to coordinate with the cake. Give it a little knead to soften it. And what I want to do is create 2 crisscross ribbons completely over the cake and then a nice little bow on top. So I'll give my surface a little dusting. Make sure when you're rolling your fondant, you're using icing sugar, not flour. I'll trim off my end pieces and simply cut long ribbons. So you don't need anything to adhere it. Fondant will stick itself. Go. And now for the bow pieces, I'll make 2 loops, roughly about the same size. I just shape them and pinch them together. Join them with a little piece and cover up where they come together. Now for the tails of the ribbon, which I'll trim, just like when I wrap a present. And these go on first. Give it that ruffled effect. This sits right on top. And there you have it. You just have to pop this in the fridge until it's party time. And how convenient. You've got a birthday gift and your birthday cake all in one package. I hope you take these ideas to your own kitchen to bake and enjoy.